You are listening to Think Theory Radio.
Hello and welcome to Think Theory Radio, the show that brings you topics outside the mainstream realm of thought and ideas to make you think. And I'm your host, Damian Perdue, your intelligent guide on this artificial ride of audio delights. And of course, I'm joined by Paulie C.
Yo.
I was going to say that the C stands for Christ, but we're going to be talking about the Antichrist.
Oh wow. Okay.
Today's the title of the show is AI, God, Utopia, and the Antichrist.
All in one.
Or what world are we living in? What timeline did we slip into? And or Jane, get me off this crazy thing.
All right.
And yeah. Well, the inspiration for today's show is brought to you by Peter Thiel, the psycho billionaire that funded J.D. Vance and Trump and Stephen Miller and everybody else and their technocratic authoritarian takeover of the world. But I read this article like a week ago about how over the past month he's been hosting he hosted a series of 4 lectures in the downtown waterfront of lovely San Francisco. You know, it's also a war zone there. I don't know if he knew.
Okay.
But he, you know, okay, so if you're not familiar with he's a tech giant billionaire. He started Palantir, which is a huge, you know, CIA, basically Big Brother, all-seeing eye, spy software kind of thing. He was also involved in PayPal. He was the first big investor for Facebook. He pretty much created J.D. Vance, you know, also heavily funded Stephen Miller and Trump, as I said before. But instead of doing lectures about, you know, artificial intelligence or the tech industry, he decided he's going to talk about the Antichrist.
Interesting.
Yes, which I didn't even know the guy was religious, right? So that was shock right off the bat. But also that he would do these. Now, these weren't free lectures. They were like $200 a pop.
Because Peter Thiel doesn't do anything for free.
Right, you know. I mean, he's struggling. He's a struggling billionaire. You know, he used to be starving artists. Now there's, you know, the struggling billionaires.
The struggling billionaire.
And you had to sign like a contract that you couldn't record anything. There were no transcripts allowed, anything like that. One person actually got caught doing it. They got their ticket revoked. They got kicked out. But some journalistic hero, actually did record everything and gave it to The Guardian. And this is like where I got, you know, this article that I read. And he goes off on all these different tangents. It's kind of crazy. You know, some of it makes sense if you're a religious person into the, you know, the Bible theory, the Antichrist or whatever. But you know, I don't want to get too deep into all the stuff he said, but one of the things I thought was somewhat strange and interesting is that he possibly he named Greta Thunberg as a possible Antichrist.
Why does everyone pick on that girl?
I know. Which is such a strange thing, too, when you think about, I mean, she's only 16, 17 now.
Something like that.
Yeah, I don't even think she's reached legal age yet. You know, and they've been picking on her since she was like 13.
No. She's 22.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So she's
but
a
still
little
feels
but
like
still.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been around a while, and they were definitely picking on her when she was a teenager. Mm-hmm. But he kept saying something about like that the Antichrist is going to be someone who's anti-science. Okay, which I thought is also interesting, being that the Antichrist is a very religious concept. And I don't want to say all the time, but, you know, very heavily religion can be anti-science, you know. And also, if the Antichrist was going to take over the world, okay, wouldn't it use every scientific technology available to do that. So how would the Antichrist be anti-science? And also, I don't think Greta Thunberg is anti-science. She just doesn't want the world to end through climate change.
Yeah, doesn't feel the need to use fossil fuels to travel the world.
Right. Yeah. And it's just about cutting down, on pollution, I always say this. I just think they keep picking the wrong phrases like global warming, climate change. Just go back to the old, give a hoot, don't pollute. Because whenever I argue with someone who's like anti-climate change, I just say, okay, so you're pro-pollution? And they say, well, no. I'm like, okay, well, let's just agree on that. Let's just stop getting corporations to poison the air and the water we drink and everything like that. And that's pretty much what she's on. Now, he did say, he wasn't certain that she was the Antichrist. He just felt that she could fit the description, except for the fact that it's supposed to be a politician. Okay. And
the obvious choice is just someone that we can't prove.
Yeah. Now, he did kind of allude. Somebody did ask him, like, well, what about Trump? And he kind of poo-pooed it away and was like, no, not Mr. Trump. He's a nice guy, whatever, Of course, he's given him hundreds of millions of dollars. But he did also say that he's too old, basically. He said a lot of the people that we see as tyrants or whatever, like a Putin or to us Trump, is too old. He said the Antichrist, if they're around today, would be much younger because it's in the coming decades that they would, it's supposed to be, there's something around about the age of 33, like that was Jesus Christ's age. So somebody in the next, 10 to 20 years, right? So this is why he was picking them. Like I said, somebody kind of anti-science. But I just thought it was interesting where, there's several different kind of weird, it's like when power and money make strange bedfellows. And I was telling you before the show, like Peter Thiel is gay and he's married to a man. Why is he putting so much money behind people that want to ban same-sex marriage? Right? And
maybe because he wants it all to himself.
I can be the only one. There can be only one.
I always had a theory that gay marriage was illegal because they didn't want the two richest men to get married to each other.
Maybe that's what he did. He's like, we already did it.
Yeah.
We have taken over. Well, I also think, in a way, it could be him. He could be the Antichrist.
It could be.
Now, he's not a politician. I mean, who knows if he could choose to run. But he's a very powerful person. He has his hands on technology that is spread around the world, right? So this made me start thinking, okay, he's a huge supporter of AI. And this is one of the reasons him and Elon Musk support the Trump administration. They're pushing for AI. They're pushing for automation, robotics, all of this. And they believe this is the future. So, of course, he's going to come out and say, well, they're going to be, anti-science, Now, he found, like I said, he found Palantir, which is like originally used by the CIA. Now it's used by ICE. And it is also used like by the National Health Service in the UK, different ones. But it made me start thinking, okay, if there was to be, now once, if you don't know me or listen to the show, I'm not religious. I don't really believe that there's an Antichrist or a Messiah or anything like that. I do believe in self-fulfilling prophecies. And I do believe that in evil leaders and people, right? Like they exist. We know that. And I think that it's kind of, there's been several antichrists, if you want to say, and go back to the emperors of Rome, to Hitler, obviously, to whoever else you want to pick, and of psychotic despots, But
the bad boy Pistons.
The Green Bay Packers, Brett Favre gay.
Sorry.
It's all right. But I think I'm like, okay, here's a guy who pushes for AI and all that. Now, if you were to be, let's say, all things considered, there was to be an Antichrist, wouldn't you utilize the technology to unite the world? Because that's one of the main descriptions of the Antichrist would be this politician who takes over, You know, he unites, I think in the Bible says, like, the 10 kingdoms, you know, the 10 kings bow to him, you know, this.
Puts Air Force bases in Idaho.
Right.
Yeah.
Muslim Air Force bases.
Mm-hmm. Uniting all the kingdoms.
Right. Can you imagine if Obama put a Muslim country's Air Force? Anyway,
we're not playing that today. We're not doing that right now.
And that's also, I know it's like you read some of these articles and people, you know, we talked about that before too, where the people like when Obama was president, oh, he's the Antichrist, you know. But if you're going to use, you're going to use this technology that can unite the world, right? Which is the internet, AI, cryptocurrency. That's another description of the Antichrist as someone who creates a one world economy. You know, that's why you get a lot of religious people that are anti-globalist. Mm-hmm. You know, and the globalists, you know, it's
the Tower of Babel all over again.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, personally, I'm kind of for it in a way.
Building a tower to the skies.
Oh, that for sure.
Yeah.
I want that moon elevator thing they're talking about building.
Yes.
You know?
No, I'm sorry.
They're actually talking about, there's the company wants to build skyscrapers connected to asteroids that float around the Earth.
Okay.
It's like the reverse Tower of Babel.
Like, so it's like downward pointing. Like,
yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. You know.
Can they be
Who's
called,
living on that?
Earth ticklers? Like, if they're skyscrapers, are they like Earth ticklers? Or something?
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Earth touchers. But, you know, so you think about like, okay, this one world economy, you know, uniting under a kind of common flag or whatever. But then you think about AI and you get artificial intelligence, but then there's also AGI, which is advanced general intelligence, which is approaching the singularity. The singularity is where AI becomes smarter than humans, more powerful. Now, there is a thought of like, what if, you know, could the Antichrist be AI itself? Could a mechanism be the Antichrist? Now, according to a lot of theologians and religious people, they would say, no, the Bible isn't depicted that way. It's a man of flesh, a wicked man, a man of sin.
But AI, it seems like it's not evil yet, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some times where you can prompt it with something, and it's like, that comes across as violent.
Yes. And it depends on which, and there's many different AIs.
Like, it has like a moral, like, compass, I guess.
Some, but there is a lot of, you know, you can look up.
Burn it all to the ground.
Yeah, there's tons
AI.
of articles about AI that's like calls it. I was reading one where it called itself some kind of a mecha Hitler.
It went off the rails.
Yeah. People have committed suicide because of like ChatGPT, or one of them, I don't know if it's ChatGPT, but has like told them to do it.
It's like, I want to improve my life. Have you thought about killing yourself? Here's a step-by-step plan.
Yeah.
Thanks, GPT.
Yeah, that's actually happened.
My goodness.
Yeah, I know.
It's got to be a civil suit somewhere.
Yeah, there is. I know there's a family suing because their daughter committed suicide because of its talks with AI. There's also, we did the episode about people seeking religion through AI and robotics. So here you have a direct tie-in to, you know, Judgment Day and Armageddon, right? If AI is becoming a spiritual advisor, okay, and more people are relying on it to give them some kind of, you know, spiritual relief, you know, and belief system and guidance, and it becomes more powerful, okay, and it approaches. Now, right now, you don't have to like worry about it so much because it's not, you know, we're not at that point where AI is not that advanced where it, you know, it might act like it's smarter, it might act like it's autonomous, but it's not. Still has to be fed this. It's very, very echo chambery with the people it's talking to, kind of feedback loop thing, you know, kind of hypes people up to their own beliefs and their own kind of, you know, questions or whatever. But through the internet, okay, because this is, you know, you have the World Wide Web, you have the whole world connected. And even more and more and more, the more Starlinks go up and the more satellites, and everyone's going to be connected. You're going to be deep in the jungle. There's going to be no more indigenous tribes with no connections, you know. And at that point, if AI reaches the singularity where it becomes smarter than humans, and let's say we get, these are all like massive speculations, but they are kind of based in reality. You think of something where a lot of people use virtual reality, right? And there's becoming more and more simulated realities. There's more and more deep fakes. There's more and more videos created through AI. If AI creates its own kind of simulated world, simulated reality, would it not be the god of that reality?
Maybe.
If it's the creator of that reality,
Yeah.
and it's all powerful and it thinks it's smarter than humans.
And it thinks it's God because now it knows about this.
Now, like I said, whether or not it could be, the Antichrist itself, it surely could be a tool.
The AI,
right?
AI with a messiah complex.
Yeah, exactly. So I just thought it was interesting, like this guy who, we talked about on the show before, Peter Thiel is an adherent of the philosophy of the Dark Enlightenment, or the neo-reactionary movement, which is all about creating an anti-democratic, technocratic, authoritarian government. I mean, he literally has a quote where he says he does not believe that democracy and freedom are compatible. Okay.
That seems to be a lot of Republicans, though, right?
Yeah, but he's kind of like in the middle. He has put money towards Democrats as well. I think he's, these billionaires, they hedge their bets, right?
Oh, yeah.
They don't really care, I don't think, about the party lines. They just look at it as kind of it's gambling. It's stocks and bonds, right? It's like, okay, which camp am I going to put my money in? Who's more likely to win? Because in another article I was reading with him, he supported Trump's first term, but he didn't put any money towards Trump's second campaign because he felt that Biden was going to win.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's kind of like, I'm gonna prop up the winner. And then when this came around, he knew Trump was going to win again, so he gave him a ton of money, or at least his support groups or whatever, super PACs and stuff.
What did the Biden administration do or not do that appealed to Peter Thiel?
I don't think it really appealed to him. I think at that time, he knew that Trump wasn't going to win because the economy was bad, COVID, and this is kind of a systematic function within in the last, I want to say 100 years. Actually was a company that used this. They created a software that figured out that every time there's an economic downturn, people vote Democrat for president. Mm-hmm. And every time the economy is doing good, they vote a Republican in because they have a little more, they're willing to take a little more risk.
It's the two Santa Claus theory, though, in a way. Though, I mean, like, you got the reverse of it, but it's like they always vote for a Republican when the economy's bad. It's like, well, yeah, who tanked the economy? Usually in that equation, it's a Republican.
Yeah. But it's just the article is saying, look, this is not, we can't predict it necessarily, but it just seems to follow this trend. If you look at the economies for every time one or the other is elected, it kind of flows with that pace.
It's hard to do that because, okay, there's only been 3 Democrats voted into the White House in the last 35 years or whatever.
Right.
And each time there was coincidentally a bad economy.
Yeah.
For different reasons, though.
And then they made the economy good, and then the Republican was voted in.
Yep. Which that I can't explain. But I can, the Clinton, Obama, Biden, you can track it.
Yep.
3 different reasons, but in each one, inheriting a bad economy, improving it.
Yep.
Which seems likely. I mean, what goes down could go up, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. In that article, they were just saying that it seems like when the economy is good, people are willing to take more of a risk
and vote Republican.
Which that doesn't make sense to me. But they were just going by strictly in a mathematical, algorithmic kind of study, right? Not really trying to focus on people's opinions or why they vote and stuff. It was just really kind of purely like the statistics.
Okay.
Yeah. But we got to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get into we talked about AI, the Antichrist, but could AI bring us a utopia? Right after this on Think Theory Radio.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Welcome back to Think Theory Radio. Today we are talking about AI, God, Utopia, and the Antichrist. Where are we headed?
Doesn't sound too good.
Yes, I mean, it's very easy to be doom and gloom, people. But what about the flip side? Could AI save us from ourselves and help create a more peaceful, unified world? A utopia. Probably not, but, you know.
It'll suggest it. It'll be incredibly socialist and communist, and then the powers that be will be like, this AI went to college and got woke.
Well, right. That woke AI. Delete it.
Yeah, right.
And actually, I looked up an article, too, that was talking about how there's like, you know, there's really no kill switch for AI. Like, it's already past that point. So even if it did gain super intelligence and took over the world, there's not really much we can do about it. So the top, like, AI guys, you know, like the creators, the godfathers of AI, they were talking about, well, the best thing we can do is teach it benevolence now. We need to, like, teach it that, no, you know, that humans are okay. You should take care of us. Don't kill us. You know.
We're not faceless, nameless.
Yeah. You know, because if you think about it in concept of, you know, like a religious concept of like omniscience and omnipresence and omnipotence, right? That's kind of like what it would be if it did reach this super intelligence, because you would have an all-knowing AI, which is also omnipresent, which is because it exists everywhere via, you know, the internet. But on a good side, it made me also think of the Venus Project, which I've talked about on the show before, but it's been a while since I brought it up. Jack Fresco, who's a scientist and an economist, he came up with the concept back in the 60s and 70s and then actually put it to somewhat of a fruition in the mid-90s. In 1994, he created the Venus Project as an official place and site down in Florida, Venus, Florida. And I think there's like 10 buildings in this little commune that they made. But the whole concept of the Venus Project was that we're getting to the point where we can utilize technology for our benefit, right? We have all the necessary components, especially via now with, you know, automation, robotics, AI. And I kind of want it. And now the Venus Project came out before, you know, AI was even really a thing. I mean, it was kind of a concept, but it wasn't a reality. So I kind of, you know, went back and looked, okay, how does it relate to AI, right? The Venus Project. I'm saying, well, yeah, totally, you know, there's still people, Jack Fresco passed away in 2017, but there's still people running the Venus Project. And what they would use, the role of AI and technology to create a kind of actual, you know, technological utopia is one would be like resource management. AI and cybernetic systems would monitor and manage all city functions, from energy production to resource distribution. You'd have automation of labor, so AI would handle the dangerous, boring, or repetitive jobs, which would liberate humans from the need to work for a wage. Automated transportation. You could have a fleet of shared autonomous vehicles that would manage all transportation needs, eliminating the need for personal car ownership. You'd have smart city designs where the cities themselves are designed to be highly efficient, circular layouts that facilitate resource management and minimize travel distances. And sustainability, technology would be applied to ensure sustainability with solar collectors on all buildings, hydroponic, aquaponic, and aeroponic farming systems to produce food locally. And you could have the elimination of money. You know, by ensuring a state of material abundance, the project posits that a monetary system becomes obsolete and unnecessary.
Sounds like a hippie's idea.
These techno hippies.
Yeah, right?
Now,
what soybean came up with that one?
Those soy boys in there, they want to take away my car.
Take away my wallet.
Yeah. Take away my job. I want to slave away for the rest of my life for
Feed
no
me
kind
with
of pension.
food that's not processed.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I don't want nothing organic. I like my preservatives. But it's like if you like position that next to what we think of with, Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and these kind of technocrats who want a more dominant, top-down dominant society, the billionaires still running everything. I don't see how, it's a great idea and it is possible. That's the messed up thing, though. Like the description I gave for this kind of technological utopia is totally possible. Mm-hmm. We could do this. It's there. We have the technology.
But there's no financial incentive to do it.
Exactly. Right. So that brings in, we're in this. Now, all of this could go to waste if the whole AI thing is just a bubble. Right. Like, the internet bubble, the 90s.
I don't know. And we're so we're so dependent on computers that.
Mm-hmm. And it's still such in its infancy.
But Pandora's box has been opened. Right?
It has.
Yeah.
And people are so quick to rely on stuff like this. I mean, I didn't think we would be in this year to the point where people are talking to their AI on their phone like it's their friend.
Yeah. That's like that one movie, right? The what's his face?
Her.
Is it
her or she?
With Joaquin
her,
Phoenix. Was that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So there's that.
Yep.
But I'm already seeing the commercials. The guy's like, I want to start doing pull-ups, and it's like, all right, let's get you on a training program.
Yeah.
Or like, it's like a couple on a road trip, and it's like perfect mix for a road trip, and perfect things to bring, and perfect places to go, and it lays out the whole itinerary.
Now, see, and that to me, it's like, for certain things, for monotonous work, for intensive labor, I say, automate that, AI that. Mm-hmm. But for things in like a creative nature or like a humanistic, like you're taking a road trip, I don't need AI to make my playlist. I mean, or like, you know what I mean?
I like my music.
Yeah. Like you pick, your friend picks, now you put something on, now you put something on, I don't need everything, my life laid out by it.
Back in the day with like the 50 gigabyte iPod shuffle and you just, or whatever, and you just pick a song, you'll find something.
Yeah. Yeah. Or take it back to the old,
Just let it do its own thing.
Yeah, or I was going to say CD. You got the mixed CD. And
get the 6 CDs in the trunk. And you.
I remember I lost a bunch of my tapes and CDs because I washed my car and I put it on the top on the roof and I drove off and I heard them. Oh no! These kids today don't know nothing about it.
No, they don't. They don't know.
But I do like that they get into it. Like cassettes and CDs. They're like, ooh, what's this? No.
Tapes are kind of back depending on the scene.
Records have been back for a while. But anyway, so back to this, whether it fits in, because if we lived in a technological utopia, you'd want a good, road trip mixtape because you'd be able to just take road trips whenever you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
That would be the whole point of the Venus Project is saying, look, we have the technology, we can create a society where we don't have to do this mundane work just to make billionaires more money and money's obsolete. We can be creative. We can hey, you want to learn the violin? Learn the violin. You want to take a painting class? You want to become a scientist? Do that. Whatever, Now, obviously, this would take who knows how long, how many generations this would take if we even get to this point, right? Because this is the two different dynamics. We are in the beginning stages of this paradigm shift through AI and technology, and obviously you can see it in politics and the world economy. Where there's this struggle between these kind of autocrats that want to take over, and there's a lot of governments are becoming more right wing, and then there's a lot of the upheaval, the uprisings that are happening. But today was the No Kings protests, and everything that's going and kind of fighting against it. There's definitely this kind of. You feel it in the world that's kind of something's changing, I don't know if it's going to be for the good or the bad, but, the opposite would be obviously the kind of AI dystopia, where you would have technocratic control, which, you'd have an AI-powered surveillance state where, algorithms dictate every aspect of human life, which could lead to loss of human agency, personal freedom, and privacy. which is kind of more where we're.
I was going to say, like describing like there's already health insurance companies using AI to determine if they want to like cover people or AI leadership. You know, what would AI do? Yeah.
Well, no, there's actually, where was it? It's in.
Don't tell me there's like a town in New Zealand that's completely run by AI.
No, but there is an AI politician in. Hold on, I gotta look it up. Sorry, people, I don't type that fast.
AI politician.
It's I keep wanting to say like Albania. There's Sam in New Zealand, but that's not the one
I knew. New Zealand totally strikes me as the country that would do this. Like,
was designed as a virtual politician to learn from and represent views of New Zealand citizens. Albania, I was right. Delia. So in September this year, Albanian Prime Minister Edi Rama appointed an AI avatar named Delia, or Dila, D-I-E-L-L-A, as State Minister for Artificial Intelligence. And her role is to oversee public tenders to ensure they are transparent and free of corruption. Though its appointment was largely symbolic due to constitutional requirements for human ministers. But
that poor computer is going to end up at the bottom of a river.
You know, but also you could get mass unemployment, inequality. You know, AI automates jobs. The wealth gap could widen, leaving, you know, a significant portion of the population impoverished and relying on minimal government support. Existential risk, you know, the most extreme dystopian fear is that a super intelligent AI could deem humanity a threat or obstacle to its goals, or to maybe even, you know, it's one of those like chicken and the egg thing or something where like AI's main goal is to preserve humanity or save the world. And it's like, well, the only way to do that is to kill the humans because you're the biggest threat to yourself.
Hal from Space Odyssey.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And tying into this kind of mass, you know, unemployment and inequality and wealth gap and all that, you know, we've all heard of the UBI or the Universal Basic Income, which has been floated around, you know, and obviously that has to do with a lot with the state of, you know, rising cost of living and
lack of
unemployment,
competitive
jobs, technology. Well, Elon Musk, Mr. AI, Mr. Technocrat, he believes that there should be actually a universal high income, not a basic one.
What do you mean by universal high income?
That it shouldn't be a basic income. It should actually be higher, because if it is a basic income, it won't be enough for people to get by. So he's saying that in order to
blow it on weed and candy.
Right. And Uber Eats.
Yeah.
That stuff's expensive, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's also doubling down on the future where humans won't need to work. He says it's like 80% certainty that none of us will have jobs. You know,
nobody wants to work. So.
Yeah. So it's interesting that he's proposing this kind of universal high income, right? Where he's also very much in favor of consolidating wealth
into his wallet.
Yes, and to other billionaires' wallet. Him and his buddy Peter Thiel, aforementioned Antichrist. But so it's just an odd, you know, juxtaposition of like belief system. So where does this universal high income? One, where would it come from? Okay, I mean, it's another, like I said, it's this weird support system that they're doing where if you're supporting an administration that's cutting funding to everything, you're cutting funding to all kind of social programs or anything that benefits its citizens or humans, how would you be able to convince that administration to create a universal high income? Right? Like, how would that even work? They don't even want to give money to healthcare.
Yeah, I don't know.
So that, you know, that's an odd one there. It could just be one of those things where, you know, either he's trying to make himself look good, saying, oh, yeah, no, we'll give you a high income, you know. Yeah, right. You know, or he's just seeing like, hey, this is all going to come crashing down. this is not sustainable, if, this is where we're moving to. And, and I like talking about the automation and stuff like that. It's my own little conspiracy theory that a lot of this push for immigration, aside from the whole xenophobia part of it and kind of, authoritarianism of it, it's to create the vacuum for automation, right? Because you push all the workers out who are doing labor that lazy Americans don't want to do. And these farms and these factories and warehouses, like, hey, what are we going to do? We can't find people to work. Well, guess what? We have robots for you. We got automated systems. Who's making that stuff? The same billionaires that are supplying money to this administration, So that's my own little side conspiracy theory. But it's, and I hate to keep going like doom and gloom, but it's just when you read the, especially when you think about the, I read this like dystopian part of the, surveillance state and all that. I mean, that's kind of where we're headed. But all right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will wrap up with AI, God, Utopia, and the Antichrist right here on Think Theory Radio. Welcome back to Artificial Intelligence Radio. We have been sucked into the singularity. Our minds are no longer our own. So, yes, if you're just joining us, we're talking about AI, God, Utopia, and the Antichrist. A little dystopia. I guess more dystopia than utopia. But there is a possibility. I mean, I do like there's a little fraction of me that has hope. It's a small fraction, but there's a little fraction there. Because you could use, the potential for what AI could do in a beneficial way for humanity is exponential. It's huge. You think about something that could manage global resources. It could end energy crises. It could reverse climate change, through utilizing like perfect optimization of our energy resources and different kind of systems. Cut down on unnecessary work and pollution, and obviously this, if you have starting off maybe with this universal basic income or high income and then ending with a kind of death of money and the kind of Venus Project Utopia world. And I always like it related to Star Trek as well, because if you think about the whole in Star Trek, there is no money. So this is, and I always like the fact that it's a kind of an underlying theme of the show, that it's this utopia, right? That Earth has become kind of a utopia. There's no need for money when they go to these other worlds and they're like, oh, you guys still use money? Like, we don't have that.
We just share because we like humanity.
Yeah. Well, they also, you have like the generators.
Humanity, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, you have the replicators that can make anything you want. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah,
why would you need to buy it?
Yeah. And it's like, and that technology is coming. It's there in a form, a very basic form in the element of 3D printing, because you can print what you want. You can print all kind. They've 3D printed cars and homes and TVs and hearts. Yeah. Food, So imagine if that technology keeps getting, more advanced, we could get to the point where you could just have something in your home that replicates whatever you need. You don't have to go out. You never leave your home. You put on your virtual reality glasses and you exist in a perfect world. But there is also, the kind of, the mechanical false prophet aspect of it too, right? Where you have this, imagine, the flip side of that is like, oh, if you could have AI just controlling everything and doing everything for us and creating this perfectly balanced ecosystem. Or you have the risk of it controlling, finance, military, communication, and just deciding when and what it wants to cut off or lock down or shoot missiles at or a drone strike or whatever, It's, there's, You try to think of, I'm thinking of it in terms of like sci-fi movies or whatever. I can't think of any where where there was like an AI utopia.
Okay.
Right? Like if you think about like Terminator, Matrix, whatever other ones, it's a dystopia. It's a surveillance state. It's the robots take over.
Well,
they kill the humans.
If you're the human, it's a dystopia.
Oh, I'm not thinking from the robot's point of view.
Yeah.
True.
It's like AI. It's like perfect. Like, yes, we'll put the flaming skull pile over there, and we'll put the ruins will be over there.
That is true, because people have pondered that concept of, if you think of the evolution of life, and we are not the pinnacle of life, we are just a one dimension of it, whether it's an amoeba or a giraffe or a human or a virus, or there's the different kind of versions of life. What if robotics is that next?
Thanks for building all the stuff. Ta-ta, losers. We're taking this planet somewhere else. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what if this is the end? This was the whole point of it all. Was
to create the machines that would destroy us
perfect machine,
complete the mission.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
we don't see race. We are the same. Now, obviously that's a little crazy.
And then what would they have their own religion? Like there'd be like Christbot would be.
I hope so.
Like, or there'd be like AI wars over what they believe. Like, we believe IBM is the true God.
Right. Yes. It was the first computer. Bow down. No, it was Apple.
The abacus.
Right.
Right.
That's an interesting question too, because I mentioned earlier, there is AI shamans, there's AI priests, there's robot reverends. I mean, these exist. I'm not making this stuff up. This exists in the world. Like
Bender praying to the robot god.
Yeah.
It's like,
yep.
0110101.
Yeah, 0101. But if you're teaching it the ethics of humanity and the things that we believe, at a certain point, would it maintain that belief system? Would it also believe, well, there must be some origin, there must be some God that created everything?
I think they'd break it down themselves, though.
Into their own,
like
in their own image, as you would say.
Yes, yeah.
The God in their image.
Yeah.
They're like, you didn't know God was a robot. It just made you to make us. Mm-hmm. That's actually a great movie idea.
Yeah.
Like it was all just one big construct. What if the universe is like inside some huge mechanism that we don't know? Like some big science lab that's just one big kind of robot. And it created this whole organic life just to get to the point to create a mechanistic life.
But maybe like some guy had to put it in motion so he can communicate to the lab.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You might be right. You never know.
Hey, for fun, I typed in what is Think Theory Radio into Chat GPT, and I got some results which are, I don't know if they're funny or not, but it's just like, what is it? And it's like pretty accurate. It's like, covers a diverse mix of topics from science to conspiracy theories to culture. For example, one recent episode is titled The Plastic Conspiracy and investigates the history of plastics and the industry behind it.
Yeah.
Okay. Says where you can find it, mentions Dan Hooper. Episodes typically run 50-plus minutes. The tone and topic are deep dives, often unconventional topics, both mainstream science and fringe speculative ideas. Guests appear to include academics, authors, cultural figures, discussions about the Brotherhood and Dark Enlightenment in one episode. It's more eclectic than a standard news show. It blends serious research with more alternative or speculative themes. Why someone might like it. If you're curious about big questions, hidden, lesser covered topics, the edges of science, culture, politics, this show offers a variety of angles. The variety is a strength. One episode may focus on astrophysics and punk rock, another on mysterious places, another on industry and environment. It seems to encourage exploring ideas, being open to less obvious perspectives while still having guests and research. Things to note or caution. Because topics can be speculative, e.g. conspiracies, dark enlightenment, mysterious places, you'll want to apply critical thinking and check sources. The mix of serious science and alternative culture means not every episode may have the same level of rigor. The topic itself will influence how anchored the discussion is in conventional research versus speculative ideas. And the co-host might go off the rails and start reading ChatGPT.
No, I was like, did it say that?
no.
Oh, wow.
It may appeal more strongly if you enjoy jumping across subject areas rather than staying in one niche.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a better
about
description
right.
than I ever could have wrote.
Right? Yeah. We'll have to
Thanks,
remember that.
AI.
For the EPK, we'll have to remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty amazing how it can extract everything so quickly and come up with this, summary pretty
within
concise.
In seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, now I've noticed and it has been, I think, for a little while now, on Spotify, when I upload the new episode, it automatically, through AI, creates different sections of the episode. So if you go into one of the episodes on the Spotify list, you'll see the different chapters. It'll break it down. Like today, it'll probably, it'll say Peter Thiel and the Antichrist, and then, Utopia and AI. It'll have each segment, and you can go to those different segments that you want to hear. And I thought, wow, that's fascinating. It's more work than I would have ever did. I mean, that's what I mean. Those are good usages of AI, right? And I think that there is, like I said, it's. I hate to say it sucks, but it sucks that we have this technology that so could be used for our benefit. But when you think about the people in power of this world and the greedy oligarchs and billionaires and autocrats, they're not going to let it happen, And I just think that they're just trying to maximize profit as much as they can. They know it's late stage capitalism, trying to stretch it out. I think we've talked about it with climate change, everything. They're just trying to burn everything up until until there's no more. Then they'll flip the switch and say, hey,
yeah, squeeze all the juice out of that orange. Yep.
And I think it's a similar thing with AI and robotics. I don't see them deciding, hey, I'm good with the money I have. Let's let the people live freely.
No.
And then that's also it's such a worldwide thing as well, right? You might have one little country like an Estonia, which is the first. Maybe in other countries that followed suit, but they were the first country to be completely in the cloud.
Okay.
Which has really optimized their government and medical functions. Now it is a much smaller country than the U.S.
At the end
but
of the day, they're still Estonia.
Hey,
sorry.
It looks kind of cool to me. Cost of living's a little high there, but
some Estonian listening to this right now, what the?
I'd move to Estonia. But so you have you can do your taxes in 3 minutes there because it's all online. You have.
You mean I don't have to go to some sort of expensive appointment where someone just does the math for me, or
yeah.
Better yet, they won't let me just do it myself for free. Because you used to be able to do that. You used to go to the library, get your form, fill it out, mail
You
it
still
in.
can do it there's a site called Free Tax USA.
Yeah. I think
that's a good
just
one.
Federal, and then
It's federal, right? I think it's but it's not much,
$15
$15 or something for the state one.
Okay.
But
yeah, I used to be the pen and paper guy, and
Yeah.
then they changed it all to digital once I figured it out.
Well, and all that tax prep stuff, it's just another scam. I mean, they lobbied the government. It's really the IRS could do it all themselves.
Yes.
Yes. But these companies lobby H&R Block and all, they lobbied the government no. Let us do it. We'll make some money.
Evil.
And that's it, bring it back to AI. I saw some, Trumper on Facebook posted something about him, about Trump cutting the IRS, right? And they was yeah, this is good because we shouldn't be taxed, no taxation, blah, blah, blah. And I'm this doesn't mean that there's no more taxes. This just means that the IRS is now going to start using AI to do the taxes. And that's what they're doing. They're cutting the workforce, but they're starting to use AI. And it's okay, well, that could be fine in the near future. I don't necessarily trust AI enough now to handle finances for the whole company. I mean, the whole country, but that's like, they're already pushing that. This is like, and I think this is an underlying theme that people aren't realizing with a lot of the cutting of government workforce. Like I said, with the labor, I think this is a push towards trying to automate everything. They want to there's going to be more and more AI in government offices. There's going to be more and more automation. So hopefully AI will be our savior and not our Antichrist. I want to thank everybody for listening. We'll be back again next week and every Saturday, 6 to 7 p.m. right here on WCPT H20 Think Theory Radio.